Boroda, good morning. How are you this Monday morning? I'm on take 6, I think. I've kind of given up counting. I keep making the silliest of mistakes, and clearly I'm meant to be tried this morning. I've been trying on the previous 5 times to talk about yesterday, because yesterday we completed my installation or my induction into the Usk ministry area as the incumbent. Because we did the original licensing on Zoom, we weren't able to physically place me in my stall. I think this is a legal requirement. It's not just a quirk of the church, that the incumbent has to be physically placed, put into their seat. So yesterday afternoon, the Archdeacon and myself met in the Priory Church in Usk, and the wardens and the ministry team met too as sort of witnesses to celebrate this. And there was a very short piece of liturgy, a short service, and then the Archdeacon physically plonked me into my seat. She did it gently, it was fine. But a wonderful, wonderful little quirk, brilliant thing. Who would have thought that that would be an essential requirement, to actually be physically in contact with the chair of where the priest sits in a church? So we did that yesterday, and that means that that's all completed now as a process. But I couldn't help reflecting that there was probably something more spiritual, more ethereal about the seating than just the physical act. I was reminded of that phrase that people sometimes use about blooming where you're planted, blossoming where you're planted. It's lovely, isn't it? It conjures up this idea of making where you are a place to flourish. And it sounds biblical to me. So I did some digging around and some searching to see if I could find it. And I couldn't actually find that exact phrase, but I did find this wonderful phrase in Jeremiah where he talks about something that feels like blooming where you're planted. I'm going to read it to you. It does talk about being sent into exile, and I have to say right here and right now, I do not feel like I've been sent into exile. So that little bit there is not true to my story, but we're reading Jeremiah's words here. So it's Jeremiah 29 verses 4 to 7. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses and live in them. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. Take wives and have sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons, and give your daughters in marriage, that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there and do not decrease. Seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. It's that last bit, and there's some quite old-fashioned language there around marriage and multiple wives. We'll move on from that swiftly. That's Old Testament life. But it's that last bit. Seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. You may know, but if you don't, I'll tell you. And if you do know, I'll tell you again. I pray for you every day. You are part of my prayer routine. And if I didn't start every day in prayer, I wouldn't be able to keep going, because I can't do this in my strength. I do everything with you in God's strength. And that idea that by praying for you, I am taking care of myself is wonderful. That sounds like blooming where I'm planted. By doing what I'm here to do with all of you, I get to flourish, and it does feel like that. There feels like an energy and an excitement and a huge encouragement to do God's will and to work with his church in things that you are already doing and that we can continue to do and grow together. And there's that little bit earlier on as well, isn't there, about build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat what they produce. It's about investing and then taking back what that investment offers. We can reinvest it, and then there's this wonderful cycle. I care for you, and that means I'm cared for. It just really thrills me, and it's wonderful to find something so exciting and encouraging and reassuring within the Old Testament prophet there. I love Jeremiah, sorry. I love Isaiah as well, but there's some real cracking lines in Jeremiah. Isn't that fab? That's where I'm at. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, she usually sets us a challenge, and she hasn't today. We've got away with that. You haven't got away with it. No, you haven't. My challenge to you is have a think about your life and your days. Have a think about where you've been planted and how you're blooming and blossoming within that place. Perhaps there's somewhere you want to become planted because you can see that you would bloom and blossom there. What are you going to do about that? I think sometimes reflecting on all that we have and all that's good is a wonderful encouragement to us. And so the challenge is to find and think about where you've been planted so that you can blossom and bloom. Let me know. I'd be interested to know, interested to hear your stories. That's it for me today. I hope you have a good day. I'm off out to do some filming ready for the Sunday service, and I shall speak to some of you on the telephone. Drop me a line, keep in touch, and I am here if you want to chat, ask, anything. I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you can bloom where you are planted. Lots of love and God bless to you. Bye bye.